In the heart of the realm of Umbra, where twilight reigned and shadows danced upon the mist-laden ground, lay the ancient edifice known as the Shadowspire. Towering and twisted, it loomed like a dark sentinel against the backdrop of a sky swirled with indigo and violet hues. Legends whispered through the hushed woods, tales of its ethereal beauty marred by the secrets it harbored. A nexus of sorcery and malevolence, where sorcerers once drew their power from the very darkness that surrounded them. Amidst the shadowed groves, a lone figure emerged, her silhouette framed by the spectral glow of bioluminescent flora that flourished in the thick, damp air. Elowen, a young sorceress with hair like spun silver and eyes that flickered with the light of 1,000 stars, treaded cautiously, her heartbeat echoing in the silence. With every step, she felt the weight of destiny coiling around her, a serpent of fate bringing her closer to the Shadowspire's embrace. Elowen was on a quest, one murmured in the winds of prophecy, a search for the lost grimoire of Nightfall, a tome said to hold the secrets of the ancients, the power to awaken the dormant magic within the realm. Yet it was not merely the allure of knowledge that tugged at her heart, it was the pull of the darkness itself, a siren song calling her home. As she approached the base of the Shadowspire, great stone gargoyles, with eyes like molten gold, stared down from their perches, their expressions a mixture of malice and watchfulness. She felt their gaze pierce her resolve, but she pressed on, her fingers tracing the intricate runes carved into the cold stones. The air thickened with the scent of damp earth and something more primordial, a hint of sulfur, that hinted at the demons rumored to guard the spire's secrets. "Beware, child of light," a voice slithered through the gloom, rich and dark like the soil of the underworld. Emerging from the shadows, a creature of sinewy muscle and horns like jagged obsidian appeared. This was Kael'thar, a demon bound to the spire, his eyes glimmering like twin moons in a starless night. "The grimoire is not easily claimed. What do you seek within these cursed halls?" "I seek knowledge," Elowen replied, her voice steady despite the shiver that raced down her spine. "Knowledge to protect my people. The light is fading in Umbra, and if the darkness prevails, all will be lost." Kael'thar's laughter resonated like crackling thunder, a sound that sent ripples through the air. "Your intentions are noble, but the darkness is a fickle ally. Power comes at a price, young sorceress. Are you prepared to pay it?" Without hesitating, Elowen drew a deep breath, calling forth the very essence of her magic. Threads of silver light wove around her fingertips, illuminating her path. "I will face whatever trials await me. I am more than a child of light. I am a daughter of the twilight, and not even the deepest shadow shall stand in my way." With a somber nod, Kael'thar stepped aside, the shadows parting like a curtain, revealing the entrance to the Shadowspire. The air shimmered with palpable energy, a swirling mass of potential and peril. As Elowen crossed the threshold, darkness enveloped her, and the world beyond faded. The adventure had begun, and within the heart of the Shadowspire, secrets long forgotten awaited her discovery. In the shadowed realm of Umbra, where twilight reigned eternal, the air shimmered with the enchantment of the whispering winds. These winds, a swirling tapestry of magic and mischief, carried secrets from the gloaming peaks to the sunken valleys below. They twisted through the towering spire of sighs, a great obsidian tower draped in vines of luminous silver, where the sorcerer Elysia made her home. Elysia, cloaked in robes spun from the fabric of dusk, felt the winds tugging at her hair, their whispers a symphony of voices that danced through her mind. She stood at the balcony, her heart racing with the pulse of magic that thrummed in the air. The moon hung like a pearl in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over her enchanted realm. But tonight was different. The wind spoke of a disturbance, a darkness that had begun to haunt the edges of Umbra. "Come, Elysia," they beckoned, weaving through her fingers with a tantalizing caress. "A quest awaits, a shadow to unveil." With a swift motion, she summoned a flickering globule of light, illuminating her path as she descended the spiral staircase carved from the heart of a starstone. Each step echoed with the promise of adventure as she ventured into the labyrinth of her sprawling library. Shelves lined with tomes of arcane knowledge and scrolls that shimmered with the essence of dreams. "Prepare yourself," she murmured, brushing her fingers over the spines of her books. "The winds carry warnings of a demon, one who seeks to steal the magic of the whispering winds for his own dark designs. As if in response, a gust swirled through the room, fluttering parchment and sending a shiver down her spine. With a flick of her wrist, Elysia conjured a shimmering portal, the very air bending and rippling like water under a moonlit sky. She stepped through, the world collapsing around her, until she emerged in the twilight glade of Eldra's Hollow, a haven of ancient trees that whispered secrets of old, their leaves glistening with silver dew. There, she encountered the demon, a creature forged from the essence of shadows, towering and wreathed in flames of midnight. His eyes glowed with malice, and around him the winds stirred in agitation, caught between the light and dark. "You dare challenge me, sorceress?" His voice rumbled like thunder, a chilling echo that sent tendrils of fear creeping down her spine. "I do not seek challenge, but peace," Elysia replied, her voice steady as she summoned the winds to her aid. They swirled around her, a tempest of light dancing in defiance of the demon's darkness. "You will not take what is not yours." With a flicker of her fingers, she unleashed a spell woven from the very essence of Umbra, a luminescent net of light that surged toward the demon, seeking to bind him. He hissed, darting aside with a flash of inky tendrils, but the winds howled, their fury rising as they twisted into forms of ethereal creatures, glistening foxes and brilliant birds, all rallying to her side. The battle ensued, a clash of light and shadow, magic weaving a tapestry of chaos in the heart of the glade. The winds, now emboldened, surged forward, wrapping around the demon's form, constricting like the embrace of a lover turned foe. Elysia, heart-pounding, focused her magic, summoning the whispers of the ancients, calling upon the very spirit of Umbra to join her in this fateful confrontation. In the depths of their struggle, as dark clashed with light, the winds carried the echoes of an age-old prophecy, whispering their truths to those who dared listen. The fate of Umbra hung by a slender thread, and Elysia knew that the outcome would shape the magic of her realm for generations to come. The air in Umbra was thick with an unsettling stillness, as though the very fabric of reality held its breath beneath the eternal shroud of dusk. Shadows played tricks upon the cobblestone streets of Eldergrove, a village nestled in the valley's embrace, its cottages hunched like weary old souls beneath the vigil of the dark spire. Towering above the treetops, the spire twisted upward, a jagged finger pointing toward the heavens, wreathed in a constant swirl of violet mist that seemed to pulse and throb with a life of its own. Kalen stood at the edge of the village square, his heart pounding like the wings of a trapped bird. He was young, just a flicker shy of 18 summers, with hair the color of molten gold that caught the dim light, and eyes that burned with an inner flame, a promise of the power he barely understood. The whispers of the villagers haunted him, tales of loved ones vanishing into the night, claimed by the sorcerers of shadow who were said to dwell within the spire, cloaked figures with eyes like the blackest coal, eternally hungry for the light of souls. "Kalen, are you listening?" called Elira, his childhood friend, breaking through the haze of his thoughts. She was a spark of brightness in the gloom, her auburn braids bouncing as she approached. "You can't be serious about this. The elders say no one who ventures near the spire returns." "They also say the brightest flame can pierce the deepest darkness," Kalen replied, the words spilling from him as if they had been waiting to be spoken. "I can't ignore what's happening here. Not when I have this." He raised his hand, a flicker of orange and gold igniting at his fingertips. "I can feel the magic calling to me, Elira. It seeks to awaken." A flicker of concern crossed her face, but she stepped closer, her curiosity outweighing her fear. "If you're truly set on this, then perhaps I should accompany you. You're not going into that darkness alone." With a deep breath, Kalen nodded. Together they slipped beyond the village, the cobblestones yielding to the twisted roots of ancient trees. The light dimmed further as they approached the spire, a monumental silhouette against a bruised sky. Tendrils of fog coiled around their ankles, and distant echoes of laughter and despair mingled in the air, chilling him to the bone. As they neared the base of the spire, a strange energy thrummed beneath their feet, resonating with the very essence of magic. It was intoxicating, almost beckoning. The tree branches twisted overhead, gnarled and black like skeletal fingers, as if warning them to turn back. But Kalen felt the flames within him surge, igniting a determination he had never known. "Look there," Illyra whispered, pointing toward the entrance that yawned open like the maw of a great beast. Shadows poured forth, swirling like smoke and wrapping around their legs, tugging gently as though coaxing them inside. "Stay close," Kalen murmured, summoning the flickering flame in his palm, casting a warm light that pushed back the encroaching dark. Together they stepped forward, the air growing colder with each passing moment, the presence of something ancient and powerful tickling the nape of his neck. As they crossed the threshold, the world of shadows swallowed them whole, and Kalen sensed it, an awareness awakening within him, a fiery promise against the encroaching darkness. The spire loomed above, a sentinel of secrets, and he knew the answers they sought lay within its depths. The adventure had begun, and with it the fate of Eldergrove danced precariously at the edge of uncharted magic. In the heart of Umbra, where twilight lingered like a forgotten whisper, a colossal tree, known as the Eldervine, erupted from the earth, its gnarled roots sprawling like serpents across the landscape. Its leaves shimmered with a spectral glow, casting hues of blue and violet that danced across the ground. Beneath its great boughs, a gathering of the realm's most powerful beings converged, their breaths rising in soft puffs amidst the chill of the evening air. At the forefront stood Silaris, the sorceress of the starlit veil. Her robes, woven from the threads of night itself, billowed softly around her as she raised her arms in a graceful arc. A cascade of silver hair tumbled down her back, reflecting the ethereal light of the Eldervine. She beckoned forth the assembled, her voice melodic yet commanding, as she called for unity against the encroaching darkness. "Brothers and sisters of Umbra," she began, her voice weaving through the crowd like a spell. "The shadows grow restless, and the malevolence of the Abyssal Legion stirs again. We cannot stand alone. Together, we are the light that defies the night." From the edges of the gathering, the ground trembled as a figure stepped forward. Azeroth, the formidable demon lord, appeared amidst a billow of smoke and embers, his crimson skin glistening like molten rock. His eyes burned like twin suns, fierce yet piercingly intelligent. Though he was feared by many, the air quivered with an undeniable tension, a mix of anxiety and respect that rippled through the throng. "Your light, sorceress, is a beacon," he growled, his voice reverberating like rolling thunder. "But it is not enough. We need power. We need weapons forged in strife." He extended his clawed hand, revealing a shard of crystal, dark and swirling with energy, a piece of the abyss itself. Gasps echoed through the crowd, and the creatures of Umbra, a motley assembly of sylphs, fae, and ancient beasts, stirred with anticipation. Silaris, unfazed, met Azeroth's gaze with unwavering resolve. "Power is not merely the force of destruction, Demon Lord. It is the unity of our strengths that will vanquish the encroaching darkness. We shall forge alliances, not only with strength, but with wisdom." With a flick of her wrist, Silaris conjured a tapestry of stars above them, each one a twinkling reminder of the destinies entwined in their shared fight. The tapestry spun, weaving together symbols of their past victories and the battles yet to come, each thread shimmering with hope. One by one the allies stepped forward. Eldrin, the wise fae with wings like fragile glass, spoke in whispers that carried on the wind. "I can summon the wind to guide our path, a force that will carry our message through the skies." His voice was soft but assured. Lurath, the great beast with emerald scales, roared in agreement. "And I shall call upon the earth itself, molding it to our will. Together we can create barriers of stone, fortifications against the Legion's advance." As the allies shared their gifts, a symphony of magic surged through the air, swirling around them like a tempest of shimmering colors. Silaris felt a surge of energy, a promise of what they could achieve together. And for the first time in many moons, hope blossomed within her heart. "Let the shadows come," she declared, standing tall beneath the Eldervine. "For we are not mere stories waiting to be told. We are the legends destined to rise, and we will weave our fate together in the tapestry of Umbra." With that proclamation, the gathering erupted into a chorus of agreement, an alliance forged in the fires of determination, ready to face whatever darkness dared to encroach upon their realm. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows over the ancient stone spires of Eldera's sanctuary. The air shimmered with a soft blue luminescence, a sign that the magic of Umbra was stirring beneath the surface, whispering secrets to those who dared to listen. Kalen stepped through the arching vines that framed the entrance, his heart pounding with both trepidation and anticipation. He had traveled far, chasing the tendrils of destiny that had woven their way into his life, and now he stood on the threshold of wisdom. Inside, the sanctuary was a labyrinth of shelves, each stacked high with tomes bound in leather and embossed with symbols of power. The scent of old parchment and the faint crackle of magic filled the air. Eldera, the guardian of these relics, sat amidst the chaos, her silver hair cascading like a waterfall over her robes, as she meticulously rearranged the scrolls that told the tales of ages past. "Kalen," she greeted, her voice a soft blend of authority and warmth. "You come seeking answers, yet it is the questions that often guide us to the truth." His resolve steadied as he approached her, the flickering candlelight casting an ethereal glow upon her ancient features. "Eldera, the forces of Umbra are shifting. I feel it in my bones. I must seek the darkness that looms over our realm." With a knowing smile, Eldera gestured to an ornate tome lying open on the table. "Then you must understand that you are not alone on this path. The shadows are awakening, and they will call forth allies, friends who will stand by your side against the encroaching night." Kalen's brow furrowed as he contemplated her words. "Who will join me in this strife?" "Seek the fierce heart of a demon hunter, one who knows the taste of vengeance," she replied, her voice a melodic whisper. "And the soul of a shapeshifter, one who can adapt to the chaos of battle. Lastly, find the sorceress who dances with nature, for her magic will bind you all." With determination igniting in his chest, Kalen set out into the gathering twilight, guided by the whispers of Eldera's wisdom. His first destination was the forest of Ashenwood, where the demon hunter Lyra had forged her reputation. The trees loomed like sentinels, their bark blackened by a history of conflict, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and impending rain. Lyra emerged from the shadows, her eyes sharp and vigilant, with a silver blade glinting at her side. "You've come seeking me, sorcerer?" she asked, her voice a low growl that seemed to blend into the rustling leaves. "I seek a fierce ally to confront the darkness," he replied, sensing the weight of her past lingering in the air around her. With a quick nod, Lyra stepped forward, her presence both daunting and captivating. "Then let us hunt the shadows together." Next, they traveled to the Glade of Whispers, a vibrant sanctuary where Flora thrived under Mira's gentle touch. The young sorceress was a tempest of energy, her laughter ringing like chimes in the breeze as she summoned blooms of every hue. When she saw Kalen and Lyra approach, her eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Are you here to join the chorus of the forest?" "Not yet, but our journey requires your magic," Kalen replied, his heart lightening at her spirit. "Will you lend us your strength?" With a radiant smile, Mira agreed, her hands weaving petals into garlands that shimmered with enchantment. As they walked together under the emerald canopy, Kalen felt an unbreakable bond forming between them, a union of purpose and friendship that would withstand the trials to come. And so, as dusk descended upon the realm of Umbra, Kalen, Lyra, Thorn, and Mira stood together, their hearts ignited with the promise of adventure. The shadows of ancient forces loomed, but they were no longer alone. Together, they would embark on a quest that would etch their names into the tapestry of the realm, facing the darkness that awaited them with courage and unity. In the heart of the realm of Umbra, where twilight lingered long into the night, lay the enchanted forest of shadows. It was a place where whispers of magic danced on the air like fallen leaves, and the trees, ancient and gnarled, stood as guardians of secrets long forgotten. Thick canopies filtered the moonlight into a soft silver mist, casting intricate patterns upon the forest floor, where luminescent mushrooms bloomed in vibrant hues of turquoise and violet. Elowen, a sorceress of no small renown, stepped cautiously into this ethereal realm, her heart a chaotic symphony of excitement and trepidation. Clad in a cloak woven from the starlit threads of her ancestors, she felt the forest pulse with its own heartbeat, a rhythm that resonated in her very bones. Her quest was perilous, to retrieve the Shard of Lorenth, a crystal of unfathomable power, hidden deep within the forest's embrace, guarded by the enigmatic demons that roamed its shadowy depths. With each step, she felt the forest's magic envelop her, teasing at the edges of her consciousness. The air thickened with enchantments, and the trees seemed to murmur, their voices a soft cacophony of warnings and allure. She recalled tales of the forest, of the demons that lurked within, creatures born of shadow and flame, weaving illusions that ensnared the minds of the unwary. Yet she pressed on, her mind sharp and her resolve unwavering. As Eloin ventured deeper, the landscape transformed. The trees twisted into grotesque forms, their bark shimmering with an iridescent sheen, and the ground beneath her feet became a tapestry of roots and vines, each pulse of life a reminder of the forest's breath. Suddenly a rustle stirred the shadows, and from the gloom emerged a demon, its eyes glowing like molten gold. Its form shifted, a kaleidoscope of shifting shadows, as it regarded her with a mixture of curiosity and malice. "Why do you tread upon this sacred ground, sorceress?" it intoned, voice like gravel swept by the wind. The air crackled with arcane tension, and Eloin felt the weight of its gaze upon her. "I seek the Shard of Lorenth," she declared, her voice steady, despite the flutter of fear in her chest. "I am destined to wield its power for the good of Umbra." The demon laughed, a sound both hollow and rich, echoing through the trees like a haunting melody. "You seek the light, yet you step into shadows. The shard is not for the weak of heart. To claim it, you must prove your worth." With that it vanished, leaving a trail of shimmering darkness in its wake. Eloin's heart raced, as a series of illusions began to swirl around her, visions of her deepest fears and regrets, crafted from the very essence of the forest. Each shadow held a memory, her childhood lost to war, the laughter of friends now silenced, the faces of those she had failed to protect. She focused inward, drawing upon the strength of her ancestors. Light enveloped her, piercing through the illusions, and she anchored herself in the truth of her purpose. "I am not afraid," she declared, her voice a clarion call that echoed through the trees. As the shadows recoiled, the path ahead began to illuminate, revealing a shimmering glade bathed in ethereal light. There, atop a pedestal of entwined roots, lay the Shard of Lorenth, pulsating with a brilliance that beckoned her forward. With every step she took, Eloin felt the forest shift around her, its magic alive with anticipation, as the true adventure was only just beginning. In the heart of the realm of Umbra, where twilight never fully yielded to dawn, lay the enchanted forest of shadows. It was a place where the thick canopy of gnarled trees twisted like the fingers of a slumbering giant, their bark gleaming with an eerie luminescence. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and the whispers of forgotten dreams that lingered in the shadows, urging adventurers to tread carefully. Kaelin, a young sorcerer with untamed auburn curls and eyes the color of stormy seas, stepped cautiously onto the winding path that seemed to writhe underfoot, its stones glistening like wet obsidian. Beside him, Elindra, a fierce demoness with crimson skin and eyes like molten gold, poised herself with an air of confidence, her claws gleaming faintly as they caught the ethereal light. Behind them, Tamsin, the agile elf with silvery hair, unsheathed her twin daggers, their blades humming with magic, while the hulking form of Gorath, a warlock of formidable strength, gripped his staff, ready to unleash the tempest within. "Focus," Elindra said, her voice low and steady. "The forest will test us. We must not lose our way." As they ventured deeper, the path grew narrower, and the shadows danced with desires unknown. Kaelin felt an unsettling shift in the air, like the forest was swelling with the anticipation of a storm. The trees leaned closer, their branches twisting and writhing, forming grotesque shapes that flickered at the edges of his vision. Suddenly, a howl broke the stillness, a sound both haunting and primal. From the depths of the darkness emerged shadow wolves, their forms indistinct yet terrifying, eyes glowing with an otherworldly hunger. Kaelin's heart raced as the pack circled, stalking them with a malevolent grace. The creatures were not mere beasts. They were manifestations of the forest's nightmares, feeding off fear and despair. "Stand your ground," Gorath bellowed, raising his staff as it crackled with eldritch energy. "We cannot fall to their illusions." Elindra growled, her claws extending as she lunged at the nearest wolf, her movements like liquid fire. The wolf snapped its jaws, but she was too quick, her power igniting the air as she struck. "Kalen, channel your magic," she urged, her voice cutting through the chaos. Kalen's hands trembled, doubt prickling at the edges of his mind. But as he witnessed Elindra's fierce battle, a warmth surged within him, igniting a spark that coursed through his veins. He closed his eyes, envisioning the energy of the forest, the ebb and flow of its vibrant magic. With a deep breath, he raised his hands, palms outward, and summoned the shadows to his command. A flicker of light erupted from his fingertips, weaving into a radiant barrier that enveloped him and his comrades. The wolves recoiled, their forms distorting, momentarily caught in the brilliance of his magic. Tamsin shouted, darting through the fray, her daggers flashing as she struck with precision. Gorath followed suit, unleashing arcs of energy that crackled through the air, dispersing the shadowy beasts with each powerful incantation. As Kalen fought alongside his friends, the power within him surged, an awakening of potential he had never known. The shadows shrank back, and the wolves, thwarted, melted into the darkness from which they came, leaving the echoes of their howls behind. Panting, Kalen lowered his hands, a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration, flooding his senses. "Did you see that?" he breathed, awe coloring his tone. "I felt the magic." Elindra flashed a fierce grin, her eyes glimmering with pride. "You've only begun to scratch the surface, Kalen. This journey has only just begun." With renewed determination, the group pressed onward, the shadows of the enchanted forest parting before them, revealing the path ahead, a promise of challenges yet to come, and the awakening of a destiny intertwined with the very fabric of Umbra. In the shadowed realm of Umbra, where twilight clung to the air like a whispered secret, the trial of fates loomed over the land, a contest as ancient as time itself. The skies were tapestry threads of indigo and silver, shimmering with the light of twin moons. Here, the veil between worlds thinly shimmered, allowing the echoes of sorcerers and demons to dance amidst the swirling mists. On the eve of the trial, at the edge of the Forest of Murmurs, a sorcerer named Lysander prepared himself for the challenge ahead. His raven-black robes fluttered like wings in the gentle breeze, and strands of luminous hair fell across his forehead, glimmering with the power of 1,000 spells. The air crackled with anticipation, as if the very trees held their breath in quiet reverence. Lysander's heart beat like a war drum in his chest. He was to face the demon lord Astaroth, a creature of nightmares cloaked in shadows, whose voice could summon storms, and whose eyes burned like the embers of lost souls. Many had entered the trial before him, only to be consumed by the abyss of despair. But Lysander was driven not just by ambition, but by a cause that pulsed in his veins. His home, the village of Elderspring, lay under the grip of a dark curse cast by Astaroth himself. As the celestial hour approached, he stepped into the sacred glade, a clearing bathed in ethereal light, where the air shimmered like liquid silver. Great stones carved with runes of old stood sentinel, encircling a massive obsidian altar, the focal point of the trial. Lysander could feel the presence of fate weaving around him, threads of destiny intertwining with his own. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and from the shadows, Astaroth emerged, a towering figure cloaked in darkness, his laughter echoing like thunder through the glade. His skin was an iridescent black, glistening like a starless night, and his eyes, fiery coals set in a face twisted by cruelty, locked onto Lysander's with the weight of an age-old challenge. "Foolish sorcerer," Astaroth boomed, his voice reverberating through the air. "You dare disturb the balance of power? What makes you believe you can challenge the trial of fates?" "I am not here to disturb," Lysander replied, his voice steady, despite the tempest of fear within him. "I am here to end your tyranny. The people of Elderspring cry out for justice, and I will bring it upon you, demon." With a dismissive wave, Astaroth conjured a swirl of shadowy tendrils that lashed toward Lysander, a cascade of darkness intent on snuffing out his light. But the sorcerer was ready. He raised his hands, summoning the ancient magic that coursed through him. A luminous barrier erupted around him, bathing the glade in a radiant glow, illuminating the intricate carvings of the stones. "Let the trial begin," Astaroth roared, and with that, the air thickened with magic as chaos erupted. Creatures of nightmare, birthed from the depths of the demon's realm, surged forth, winged horrors and venomous serpents, their eyes gleaming with malice. But Lysander stood firm, embers of hope igniting in his soul, knowing that this battle would determine not only his fate, but the future of all who lived in the shadow of Astaroth's reign. And so, with a heart ablaze with determination, he prepared to face the onslaught, ready to carve his legacy into the annals of Umbra. As the twilight sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of indigo and crimson, the group of four stood at the edge of the Whispering Woods, where shadows danced like phantoms among ancient trees. The air was thick with enchantment, the scent of moss and damp earth filling their lungs as they beheld the ethereal glow emanating from the heart of the forest. It was here, they had learned, that the Guardian of Fates awaited, a mystical entity tasked with testing the worthiness of those who sought to traverse its sacred domain. Kalen, a young sorcerer with raven-black hair that billowed like smoke in the cool breeze, clenched his fists, feeling the familiar weight of doubt settle in his chest. He had spent years mastering the arcane, yet the whispers of his inadequacies clawed at the edges of his thoughts. He could almost hear them now, echoing like a haunting melody. "You are not strong enough. You will fail." As they stepped beneath the towering archway of intertwining branches, a sudden wind rustled the leaves, and from the depths of the forest emerged the Guardian, a magnificent creature woven from starlight and shadows. Its form shimmered with iridescent scales, eyes like molten gold, and a voice that resonated like thunder, echoing through the glade. "Foolish mortals," it intoned, "to seek passage through these woods, you must each face your truth, your trial, lest the shadows consume you." One by one, the Guardian's eyes flickered, and the air shimmered, splitting to reveal the deep-rooted fears of each adventurer. Kalen stepped forward, heart racing, as the scene around him shifted. He stood in a vast void, surrounded by swirling darkness. Before him, a spectral figure, an echo of his former self, struggled to conjure a spell, but faltered, darkness creeping in, extinguishing the glow of his magic. "Remember your failures, Kalen," the figure taunted. "You are nothing without power." "No," Kalen shouted, fists trembling. He remembered the warmth of his mentor's words, the spark of magic that ignited in his heart. With a deep breath, he channeled every ounce of energy, feeling the pulse of ancient spells coursing through him. Light burst forth from his fingertips, illuminating the void, and as he faced his fear, the specter dissipated, leaving only the whisper of triumph in its wake. Meanwhile, Lyra found herself standing in a clearing strewn with the remnants of a battle long past. The air was thick with sorrow, as the figures of her fallen comrades flickered in and out of existence, their faces twisted in agony and regret. "You couldn't save us, Lyra," they echoed, their voices a haunting chorus. "No," she cried, tears streaming down her face. "I carry you with me, always." Drawing upon her deep-seated love for her friends, she wove an incantation of remembrance, summoning their spirits into a radiant light that glowed around her, dissipating the shadows of despair. As Thorn stepped into his trial, he felt the weight of his dual nature pressing down like an iron shackle. He stood on the precipice of a chasm, his demon side clawing for release. "Join us," it hissed, promising power and freedom. With a grin, he responded, "I embrace both sides of me." A flash of gold and crimson swirled around him, binding his essence, and he emerged, whole and unbroken. Finally, Mira faced her own tempest. Flames danced in her palms as she stood at the edge of a cliff, a storm of wild magic threatening to consume her. "You will lose control," the wind mocked, but she steadied her breath, envisioning harmony. "I am the master of my magic," she declared, and with a fierce resolve, she summoned a gentle breeze, transforming the storm into a soothing breeze. As they reconvened in the glade, spectral remnants of their trials shimmered around them, ebbing like the tide. Each of them bore the marks of their journeys, their triumphs binding them tighter than ever. They had faced their fears and emerged stronger, ready to carve their names into the fabric of fate itself. The Guardian nodded, its gaze softened, and with a wave of its luminous wings, the path forward unfurled into the heart of Umbra, where adventure awaited. In the realm of Umbra, where twilight lingered like an old friend, and shadows whispered secrets that danced on the lips of the curious, lay the legendary Shadowspire. Rising from the obsidian cliffs, the tower twisted toward the skies, a spiraling monument to dark sorcery and forgotten lore. Its surface glimmered with a sheen of dark azure, reflecting the perpetual twilight that cloaked the lands, and as the moon hung low, its light cast an ethereal glow on the ancient stones. Alondra, a sorceress of no small renown, stood at the edge of the cliff, her raven-black hair billowing like storm clouds. She gazed at the Shadowspire, a mixture of trepidation and exhilaration coursing through her veins. Rumors of its power had enticed her, tales of long-lost spells that could command the very essence of shadows and bend the will of the night. Yet with every tale came a warning, a whisper of the demons tethered within, waiting to ensnare the unwary. "Your time has come, Alondra," echoed a voice from the depths of her heart, the voice of her ancestors who had fared their souls to the shadows. They had once sought to unlock the secrets of the Shadowspire, only to be consumed by the very darkness they wished to wield. But she was different. She had trained, learned the ancient arts, and felt the cool embrace of the shadow weave against her skin. As she descended the path toward the tower, the air grew thick with an intoxicating energy, shimmering with potential. The ground beneath her feet became alive, each step resonating with the pulse of magic that thrummed through Umbra. The trees that lined the path twisted unnaturally, their gnarled limbs reaching out like skeletal fingers. Creatures of shadow peeped from behind thick trunks, wraiths with glimmering eyes, their forms indistinguishable from the dark, watching her with a mix of curiosity and wariness. At last, she reached the entrance of the Shadowspire, a gaping maw framed by intricate carvings of twisted faces and entwined serpents. Her heart raced as she crossed the threshold into the gloom. The air thickened, a weight pressing down upon her, as if the shadows themselves were aware of her presence, watching, judging. Inside, the walls pulsed with a dull glow, revealing scenes of sorcerers long past, their faces a chaotic blend of triumph and despair. Alondra could feel the essence of their ancient spells swirling around her, their voices echoing in her mind, a cacophony of power and peril. She reached out, her fingers brushing the wall, feeling the histories intertwine with her own. But the deeper she ventured, the more the atmosphere shifted. Whispers grew louder, curling around her like fog, speaking of the guardians of the spire, demons bound by dark magic, once sorcerers themselves, now twisted into malevolent shadows, forever protecting the secrets within. It was said that only the worthy could pass, while the unworthy would find themselves eternally lost in the depths of despair. With determination sparking in her core, Alondra took a deep breath, drawing upon the magic that coursed through her. It was time to prove her worth, to confront the guardians and unravel the mysteries of the Shadowspire. For she was not here merely to claim power, but to unlock the truth of her lineage, and perhaps to free the souls trapped within. As the shadows coalesced around her, she whispered a spell learned from the ancients, her voice steady, echoing in the dark hall. "I am Alondra, and I seek the light within the shadows." The air crackled with anticipation, and the adventure that awaited her would test her very soul. As Kalen and his companions approached the Shadowspire, a grim silhouette against the ashen sky, the air thickened with an oppressive aura. The ancient stone structure loomed before them, its twisted form entwined with gnarled vines that pulsed faintly with a sinister energy. With each step closer, a faint whisper echoed through the air, a chorus of forgotten voices that seemed to cry out from the depths of the spire's dark past. Before them lay a crumbling archway, adorned with intricate runes that shimmered like starlight caught in a web of shadows. The inscriptions, half erased by time, flickered with a soft luminescence, inviting yet foreboding. Kalen knelt to touch the cold stone, feeling its vibrations through his fingertips. As the others gathered close, he began to decipher the ancient language, the words flowing into his mind like a river awakening from winter's grasp. "The heart of Umbra," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, as though the very air disapproved of the name. A relic of great power, once a beacon of hope, corrupted by the sorcerers of shadow. The runes spoke of a time when the Shadowspire had stood as a sanctuary, a place where mages harnessed the essence of the realm to protect it from encroaching darkness. But the lust for power had twisted their noble intentions, leading them to create a dark force to rival the light. Kalen, a voice broke through his reverie. It was Lyra, her silvery hair catching the fading light, her violet eyes wide with concern. "Do you think they found it? The heart?" He nodded, his heart pounding in his chest. The runes foretold of a time when the sorcerers had attempted to summon the heart, twisting its pure magic into a weapon of unimaginable destruction. They sought to unleash a tide of chaos that would drown the realm of Umbra, leaving only shadows in their wake. The companions exchanged glances, the gravity of their quest settling heavily upon their shoulders. If they didn't act swiftly, the world they cherished would fall into eternal dusk. A low rumble echoed from within the spire, a tremor that sent shivers through the earth. The air pulsed with dark energy, and from the shadows a figure emerged, a demon clad in obsidian armor, its eyes burning like embers. Kalen reached for his staff, feeling the warmth of its enchantment as it hummed to life. The demon's laughter was a cacophony, mocking their presence. "Foolish mortals, you dare to tread upon the legacy of the sorcerers of shadow?" it taunted, its voice a chilling melody. "You will find only despair here." With a wave of its clawed hand, darkness coiled around them, tendrils of shadow reaching for their hearts. But Kalen steeled himself, channeling his magic. He could feel the warmth of the benevolent spirits that once inhabited the spire. Lightning flashed in the distance, illuminating the runes once more, revealing a path, a way to counter the demon's power. "We must unite our strength," Kalen shouted, his voice rising over the darkness. "Together we can cleanse this corruption." The companions rallied, magic surging through their veins as they prepared to face the demon and uncover the truth behind the heart of Umbra. The air crackled with anticipation, the fate of their realm hanging in the balance. The Shadowspire awaited, its secrets buried beneath layers of deceit and darkness, and they were determined to unveil them before it was too late. In the realm of Umbra, where shadows danced with an ethereal grace, a thick mist enveloped the land, curling around ancient trees with gnarled branches that seemed to whisper secrets of long-forgotten magic. This was a world where twilight never truly faded, where the flicker of bioluminescent fungi lit the ground, casting a kaleidoscope of colors that shimmered against the backdrop of a star-speckled sky. It was here that Eris, a young sorcerer with a heart as wild as the tempestuous winds, stood on the brink of a perilous journey. The air crackled with energy as Eris adjusted the azure cloak that billowed about her like a living entity, a gift from her late mentor. Its intricate sigils shimmered faintly, a reminder of the sorcery she had yet to master. Her emerald eyes scanned the horizon, where the towering spires of the Castle of Shadows pierced the clouds, dark and foreboding. It was said that within its obsidian walls lay the heart of Umbra's most sinister magic, a treasure coveted by both the light and dark. Eris had heard the legends, whispered in the taverns of Eldergrove, where firelight flickered like the wings of luminous moths. It was said that the deeper one ventured into the castle, the more twisted the realm became, transforming the very fabric of reality into a tapestry of nightmares. Yet the lure of the unknown was irresistible, and the promise of power hung sweetly in the air, beckoning her closer. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, feeling the cool, damp earth beneath her feet. The wind howled around her, a symphony of warnings and encouragement. As she approached the castle, the landscape shifted, shadows coiling around her, their forms morphing into grotesque creatures, twisted remnants of souls lost in despair. Their eyes glimmered with a malevolent hunger, yet within their depths she sensed a flicker of hope, memories trapped in the darkness. "Beware, young sorcerer," a voice echoed, slithering through the air like smoke. A demon emerged from the depths of the shadows, its skin a canvas of shifting colors, reflecting the turmoil of its existence. The descent into darkness is not merely a path, it is a transformation of the soul. Are you prepared to lose yourself? Eris steadied her resolve, clutching her staff, a gnarled branch adorned with crystals, pulsing with an inner light. "I seek knowledge, not annihilation. I will not falter." The demon laughed, a sound like glass shattering in the quiet of night. "Then heed my warning, child. Knowledge gained in darkness can twist even the purest heart." With a flick of its claws, it conjured an illusion of what lay ahead, a vision of her greatest fears realized, a stark reminder of the cost of her quest. Yet as the shadows writhed and whispered, Eris felt an ember of determination ignite within her. She had come too far to turn back. She wove a protective barrier around her, the sigils on her cloak glowing brighter, pushing back the encroaching darkness. "Let the shadows come," she declared, her voice steady. "I will carve my own path through this abyss." With renewed spirit, she plunged deeper into the castle, each step a heartbeat resonating through the darkness, each breath a promise of defiance against the looming chaos. And as the heavy doors creaked open before her, she vanished into the depths, ready to confront whatever lurked within the shadows, ready to embrace the darkness that threatened to consume her very essence.